India's healthy living. She's your one-stop alternative shop for all your healthy needs. From nutrition to colonics to iridology, she's there for you and your family. India's healthy. India's healthy. India's healthy.
And now, your host, affectionately known as the Poop Police, Ms. India Holloway.
We live in a world of frequencies. Electromagnetic field, we call it EMF. Simply put, EMF comes from electricity. And we are electrical. And that's why when you go to your doctor and they do an EKG, they are measuring the electrical pulses of the heart. And EMF, electromagnetic field, is dirty electricity. It is toxic. And if you don't have enough to worry about, what in the age is EMF? What are the biggest offenders? Scientists believe that your cell phone is a death trap. Typically, wireless network, cordless phones. We're going to break it all down to you today. But the big question is, what is the real reason U.S. government is so slow to protect us? How come everybody doesn't know about this? Because when you consider cell phones, and not just cell phones, I mean, hold on to your hats. Baby monitors, it often in a new home, there's new babies. Yes, of course. And if you have a baby monitor, it sends out high frequencies, high EMF. Listen, when you walk into your house or to your office, your body is actually the most conductive thing there right that moment, which means the EMF are attracted directly and straight to you. Your body's voltage shoots up. Well, joining us today is the foremost expert on electromagnetic field, EMF, Ms. Priscilla Robinson, and she's rejoining us because she's been with us before. So we're gonna explain the difference between the Earth's natural healing magnetic field and EMF that produces negative health results. And then we're going to tell you how to correct them. So listen up. Help is on the way. Go nowhere and stay tuned, for this is the Inner Light Radio, the healing frequency. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this great planet. My name is India Holloway. I am a national board certified colon hydrotherapist, an iridologist, a lecturer, and the author of a book entitled The Body Doesn't Know How to Die. And I'm here every Wednesday from 10 to 11 West Coast time. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for my regular listeners. I know I have a new listener in Paris, France. And I'm so pleased to know that. So we're going to give some information that you can handle as well when it comes to EMF today. So if you have a question, or if you want to join us for this broadcast or any broadcast, please give us a call. You can reach us at 310-928-7733 or drop us a line at innerlightradio@yahoo.com. I want to thank the new listeners that are out there, and I want to send a special thank you to the men and women in uniform, our boys and girls in the armed forces that are out there protecting us every step of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I know you choose to do this job, so I choose to thank you wholeheartedly. I want to also thank those service people on the home front, those that are like first responders and school teachers and police officers and firemen, and there's a whole host of folks out there that I'd like to give great gratitude to. So thank you for your job. And as always, this broadcast is not here to heal or cure any disease or diagnose any disease, but what we will do is educate you on your body. Now, I want to bring on Miss Priscilla. Priscilla, are you there this morning?
I am. Aloha. How are you?
Aloha. I am wonderful. Thank you, Priscilla. And thanks for joining me. Boy, this is going to be a heavy-duty one because not only is EMF huge right now in our environment, but it is really causing a lot of disturbance among human beings just in general. But before we get into this, Priscilla, I want folks to know how you came to be the foremost expert. Give us the short version of you being the expert on EMF.
Well, I got to say that every study and every day that I put effort, which is a lot of effort, into finding out more information on what is affecting we as human beings, as well as all living beings, plants and the animals, I'm amazed and just I'm amazed at all the information that has been out there, that has been existing. That studies have already been done in the 1800s, that over 120 years after, we're still trying to figure it out. But yet it has been already researched and studied. So I'm just so amazed at all of the things that I'm finding out, and at the same time concerned that we're faced with this electromagnetic radiation that has been around, that lives among us. And affecting everyone, and our government is not just they're not listening. But I'll tell you, I became totally involved. I would say about 9 or 10 years ago, when I took sick myself. I had gone through a surgery that involved a tumor in my brain. It affected my hormones. I mean, I was just totally drained of energy. The sicknesses that were upon me at the time, I didn't know how to recover. And I was trying to do everything possible to at least build my immune system, and it was just, it was impossible. I was stricken with full body inflammation after my surgery, and I mean, it was just,
when they did your surgery, what was it they did? Did they just take a tumor out of the brain?
Yes. Yes, I had a pituitary tumor, and so they had just taken it out, and so my goal was to, from there, try to change everything and just become well. But I struggled. I just struggled with energy. Loss of energy. And so just so I have a good idea, when you said you struggled with the energy, because a lot of people do, was it like you couldn't get enough energy? Were you constantly tired and sleepy? Did you just have no poop about you, so to speak? I couldn't get enough energy. It was almost, I just felt like the voltage of my body was about, I was about ready to expire. And when I say expire, I really felt that I was, I was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And so my husband and I, we started talking about preparations and so forth. And my hormones, I was going through so many issues with my hormones prior to. And I believe that my immune system was just totally shot as well. Now, I'm from the Pacific Islands, so my ancestors, my grandmothers and grandfathers, my aunts, uncles, all practiced natural medicine. So what I did was I actually tried to start up a regimen of natural practices. But it was still, it was just so difficult. The challenge for me was energy. It was just so hard for me to be able to...
So what took you towards figuring out that it was the electromagnetic field that was producing all of this negative pull from you?
Well, when I was living in the islands and the computers were introduced, at the time I was an accountant and I did taxes all the time. The computers were introduced, the big handheld cell phones were introduced, and I'll tell you this, I slept with it. I slept with the stuff because my clients were always calling. I was pretty much exposed to all of the EMF, and I believe at the time when they had those handheld cell phones, they were probably pretty high, they were probably very high powered. And I didn't realize, at the time I didn't realize that this was happening to me because of the electromagnetic frequencies. But it took me some steps that I needed to be able to see. And one of the steps was grounding, going back to naturally grounding the body.
Mm-hmm. And how did you do that? On the island should have been real easy, like walking barefoot.
Yes, exactly. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the islands. I was living in Washington. I had moved to Washington. I had my surgery up there at one of the best hospitals up there, and so it was. I remember this. I can clearly vision this. My grandparents and my parents would always tell us, take off your shoes and go to that clearing over there when we were in the islands. And they said, and they wanted us to, saturate the ground. And so, it made sense. There's so much things. Our body is made to resonate with the frequency of the earth. And the earth is healing to our body.
Very healing, and it's very positive, and it connects to the human body in and of itself. We operate out of somewhere between 10 and 100 millivolts. That's a good voltage of electricity all by itself. But when you think about this, since you're talking about the difference between those two, it takes, I said 10 to 100 millivolts for the human body. That's how we operate, right? It takes 25,000 millivolts to create a picture on your TV.
Right.
That's
a very clear picture of what you just,
isn't it?
That is.
That's just your TV. Now, if we were to talk about the cell phones and I even brought up the baby monitor, but let's talk about the different things that is electrical that sets off an EMF so people get an idea of where they're getting theirs and they don't know it.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's so much to say, there's so much to talk about, but you're right. To start off with the electromagnetic spectrum is basically what we need to be able to share with people, because our society needs to know that in the electromagnetic spectrum, we have radiation. We have certain levels of frequency, and these are coming from different devices. So the extremely low frequency is called shortened ELF. Comes from things like the plug in the wall, the power lines that are coming into the home or office. Your basically your light bulbs. So it starts off with extremely low frequency, and then it goes up to radio frequency, which, comes from radios, transmitters, TVs, cell phones, that's radio and microwave. And then we go all the way up to the infrared and the visible light, UV rays, there's X-rays, gamma rays. So there's that is some of the electromagnetic spectrum that I'm talking about. Now, they categorize the spectrum in two categorizations of radiation. One is non-ionizing radiation, and the other one is ionizing radiation. Now, we need to know that our government is saying that the safe level of non-ionizing radiation is cell phones, cordless phones, smartphones, the power lines, the electrical lines in the home.
Priscilla, they're saying that this is the safe?
Yes, they're calling these items, they're calling these devices non-ionizing radiation. The ionizing radiation, as we all know, is X-rays, ultraviolet rays, and gamma rays, and those are dangerous. Those are considered, and the government the government acknowledges that these are not safe. These are dangerous to the human body, especially prolonged exposure, to UV rays. But we'll go back to the non-ionizing radiation, where our cell phones and our smartphones, our microwaves, our TVs, our hair blow dryers, all of those they were deemed to be safe.
Why would they consider them safe? Because of the lower continual frequencies?
Yes. They deem it to be safe because the radiation frequency is supposed to be mandated between 3 kilohertz to 300 gigahertz. Like microwave radiation should be between 300 megahertz to 300 gigahertz, and that's considered in the non-ionizing radiation. And then as a light bulb, the light bulbs are they're extremely low radiation, which that's considered to be in a safe zone. But although those the devices that are in the electromagnetic spectrum that we just discussed have been clarified as a safe zone, there are many research and evidence and documented evidences of experiments and studies that show that these non-ionizing radiation devices are causing many health effects on our body, on our biological.
Exactly, and I'd like to say, how can it not? And they've known this for years. The government has, and yet every time something new comes onto the market, those frequencies gather even more. And like I said on the onset, when you walk into your house, you are the most conductive thing walking around. And when you consider all these frequencies shooting at you, they come straight at you. And because you are an electrical being, you have electrical pulses. You have every cell in your body. You have trillions of cells that make up the human body. Each one of those cells have a positive and a negative charge. That is an electrical charge. They're like little generators. Trillions of individual generators that make up the human body. How can it not be affected by the cell phone? By that heat that generates that pulse that goes straight into your brain when your cell phone is up to your head. By the way, Priscilla, are you on a cell phone today?
I surely am.
Is it next
And I'll
to
tell
your
you this.
head?
Well, yes, it is. Actually, it is. I mean, I have it right against my head. And here's the thing. I gotta say this. And these are the words of Swedish neuro-oncologist. His name is Leif Salford, and I love this. I mean, because this really, it really makes you think. But he said that we, as a society, may not realize this, that we are all participating in an unauthorized experiment. And guess what? It's the largest biological experiment ever. Because for the first time, many of us are holding high-powered microwave transmitters in the form of cell phones directly against our heads on a daily basis. Well, I have to say this. My message is not to say, hey, everyone, drop your cell phones and, get away from technology as far as you can. Because we are in a world that relies on high.
We can't get away from it. That's impossible. We cannot get away from it unless we just get totally off the grid. And people are not doing that. I mean, you got one or two crazies out there in the middle of the woods somewhere, and they're off the grid. They hunt and they cook by fire and whatever. Right. But they're not on cell phones. They don't have electricity. They don't hook up to the rest of us like we are all hooked together. What are we, Matrix? What are they trying to do to us?
You're right. I mean, kudos to those that can do that. I mean, I call my family out in Hilo, and I tell them, I say, I wish I was out there. I wish I could, because when I do go out there, so that you can feel the connection, with Earth. I mean, with Mother Earth, when you're in a place that doesn't have all this high-powered cell phone towers and all of the electricity that's around. I mean, it does our body good. But I have to say this. We as a society, we need to get aware, and we need to empower ourselves with the knowledge that it takes to protect our bodies. Now, I love what you do, India. I love what you're promoting. I mean, going over to your wellness center, it's just amazing, and I love the alternative healings that you offer. Water is so important for our body. Mm-hmm. Most of us who are conscious, okay, I mean, this is for real. They go out and they look for every avenue of obtaining good health and well-being. Water is the key. We know that because a large percentage of our body is made of water. Now, here's the thing. We go out and we protect our inner being, our bodies inside, but we have to remember that we have an outer shell. It's our biofield that is the first and foremost.
And when you're talking about a field, we're talking about energy that surrounds us. That for every human, it extends at least 3 feet out from us. That is our energy field. Priscilla, before we go any further, I want you to hold that thought about the energy field, because I have a caller on the line, and I want to get them on. Caller, are you there?
Greetings.
Greetings. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Dia Nunez calling from the Mile High City.
Hi, Dia Nunez. You have a question for myself or Priscilla?
Well, I just wanted to make a comment on 2 things. Well, actually 3. I'm glad you guys are having this show and this conversation because it's very important, and we sometimes take these things for granted. This technology becomes a part of nature, and it is not. And I find it very fascinating that they're now creating technology that can be attached or implemented within the human frame. It's like they're literally trying to change the DNA structure, literally, of human beings. I find that to be quite fascinating. And your guest saying that we're a part of the biggest experiment known to man, she's very much on point. And not only is this affecting us on a physical level, it's, I think, affecting us on a spiritual level. It cuts us off.
How can it not?
Indeed, it cuts us off from the natural connection that we have with the planet, with animals, with plants. It even blocks us getting information from the ethers like our ancestors used to do. I remember speaking to my native elders in Saskatchewan and my elders in Miami, Florida, and they talk about the old guard and how they would sit in nature and literally get downloads from the nature around them, what's happening in the cosmos and in their environment. And there's examples of this. The Dogon in Africa used to sit in the desert and look at Sirius and explain all of these things. And
that's how we got connected to the entire universe. We have gotten so far away from that until there are people out there listening to this conversation and they're going, okay, they've gone completely crazy on us because they have no clue what we're talking about.
Indeed, but I think that this is purposeful. I think it's purposeful that they do this because if we know who and what we really are as human beings, we would be more powerful than we can ever imagine. And a lot of people are very fearful of that. And they don't want that to happen. And this is why they're creating all these technologies that actually duplicate an old technology, which is the Internet of Mind. They're trying to replicate it. As a matter of fact, IBM is trying to create a replica of the brain and how the brain functions and how consciousness functions. And I hope that people are paying attention.
Well, they hear it, but it does not penetrate. So at this point, and one of the reasons that I have Priscilla on today, Ms. Nunez, is that we want to, for those that are just not totally into this, at least protect yourself. And we have the bottom line protection that is the heaviest dutiest, if you will, of everything out there that we can do to protect ourselves from these EMF, electrical magnetic fields that are coming from these newfound things that are being introduced to society, including those that are implemented in us at birth.
Okay. Well, thank you. I just wanted to tell you guys that this is an awesome show, and it's very much important.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your call. Please feel free to call anytime. And keep listening, Miss Nunez, from the Mile High City. Now, that was right on point, Priscilla, with what we were talking about. But you had introduced the electromagnetic field around us, outside of us, not just in us, but outside of us. And I want you to continue to elaborate on that for a minute, because there's so much to know about it.
I want to talk about, a few things, but I want to mention the environment around us. I mean, right now, and I know that in California especially, is one of the states that has implemented the smart meters. Which is, it is radio frequency and it's microwave. The reason why it is so dangerous for our body is because the use of radiation to communicate with the power companies is run wirelessly. And I'll tell you this, it's continuously communicating. So these smart meters that are outside,
it
never stops, and it's repeating itself continuously. So here's the scary part. In one zone of a community or maybe a development, there's one high-powered smart meter that collaborates with the other smart meters that are placed in the areas of the homes. And so you've got many of them that are continuously communicating, and they're repeatedly sending the information back and forth. So there's no rest at all for anyone that is exposed to the smart meters, in the home zone.
That's my body buzzing from all these smart meters and all this vibration I'm getting. Just hearing it makes my body vibrate. And I know on my building, where I live, there's a smart meter. On the building where my studio is operated, there's a smart meter. There are people out here that don't know they have smart meters. For the modern day conveniences, that is a meter. Remember, listeners, when the meter man used to come around and read the meters, the dog used to bark at them, they used to look over the fence, a whole bunch of other different nuances that they would go through to read the meter for the electrical bill that came. Well, they don't have those anymore. And when they switched them out, a lot of times you don't even know that they did it, but you don't see the meter man anymore.
Right.
Okay? So what
just,
happens
it's
is,
been done.
like, what is it, a satellite way up high in the sky that sends a beam of EMF down through your house, by the way, into the meter and then back up and out again, and it's constantly doing this? Don't tell me you're not getting this
another thing is that's been made easier than that is the towers. There are already towers that are placed up.
Oh, the towers that are everywhere.
The towers.
And they're going up everywhere. And a lot of people don't know what the tower is when they see it. They have no clue that that's a tower that's sending off EMF into just right there. Just if you can see it, you're getting it. Period.
Yes.
Amazing.
Now, there's a lot of studies. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of studies out there, India, that the research has been done. And like I said, it's research and they're not just in the U.S., but in different countries who've taken the stand, to add the precaution, to push the precaution with the government. And I'll tell you, we need to do this, but there's a lot. Our government needs to listen before it's too late, because right now, with all the studies that are out there, with the towers, the cell phone towers that are out there, they've studied a certain amount of a distance from a home to a cell phone tower. I mean, things that have a biological effect on people, such as suicide, depression and suicide. People that live within a certain area of the cell phone towers has a higher rate of depression and suicide. And there's evidence, documented evidence, and long studies that have this proven that the cell phone towers are causing, this type of health effect and a high increase of suicide. So there's, like I said, there's just so much that is out there in our environment that surrounds us that we need to be able to become aware of and start protecting our bodies, start protecting our biofield, because that's the first and foremost.
Well, we are so, Priscilla, we are so layered into technology and what's going on today, until when we're talking to most people, what they're hearing us say is that you either got to move away from it, get off the grid, if you will, or get rid of a lot of the modern day appliances that we are so attached to, they may as well be appendages from our body. I mean, little things. Okay, the cordless phone, that's one thing. The cell phone is another. But look at this. Listen to this, people. Your hair dryer, your vacuums, your refrigerator, your microwave, your irons, TV, computers, electric blankets, electric razors, electric toothbrush, Wi-Fi, yada, yada, yada. How do you get away from these things, Priscilla, when we're so attached to them? And then when you talk about, you say government's got to get on the stick. They got to start informing us, or at least trying to protect us. But
they have to start. They have to start following up on the mandated. And they're not going to.
They're not.
And so that's why we as a society, we as individuals have to take the precautions and protect our loved ones, protect ourselves, because it's going to be very soon. It would be very soon, just like when with the cigarettes, with tobacco, that it's going to be revealed that this has, this causes cancer. EMF causes
and you
cancer.
You said something very interesting that I want to just kind of focus on just for a second. And when we're talking about depression and suicide, your body, as I said, is an electrical charge. It's electricity, and everything in it conducts electricity. Now, everybody is different. Every voltage of everybody is different. Every charge of everybody is different. And if you are, as I say sometimes, and it comes from the military or the police world, where they say this person is 5150, that could be an electrical charge. You're 5150, something is off there, right? So if somebody's a little bit 5150 and they have an electrical volt coming through them, maybe they're living under one of the towers and you don't know it's a tower. Maybe they're, and the towers are everywhere. You know a phone tower when you see it. I know that, Priscilla. But does the average person know what a phone tower looks like? I don't think so. I've talked to the most intelligent people that come and go. Right. And if I mention a phone tower, their eyes glaze over. They have no clue what I'm talking about. Not a clue. But they are on churches. You see them because the, let's say it's the phone company that will put a phone tower up and then pay you to keep it in your neighborhood or on your building or whatever. And you don't know it's there. You're going to church every Sunday and you've got towers around your building and don't know it.
That's right.
And at work, if you own the land, let's say the company owns the land, it's a big mogul company, they're not there. They're someplace off in the Bahamas having a great time, but their workers are being rained on by electromagnetic frequencies from a cell tower that the phone company is paying rent to keep it there. And they could be getting somewhere in the neighborhood of $6,000 plus a month for.
And that's why that's the reason why we are where we're at, is because we have medical scientists who are, many of them, who have done research and believe and are now stepping out and they're being vocal and they're trying to get a group together to make changes. But then we have other officials who are getting paid, who are making money off of this. They're making money off of all of this technology, devices that we sell. I mean, it's just incredible.
And that's power. The more powerful you are, the more they can keep us dumbed down and under thumb. And it's those that have their head stuck in the sand like an ostrich that says, you know what, my body's up there. As long as that's okay, I'm hiding my head. I'm not going to deal with it. But when you go to work in your office and you have fluorescent lights, look up, people. If you have a fax machine, if you have photocopiers, if you have scanners, Wi-Fi, you've got electromagnetic field all around you that's torturing and assaulting your body. And if you even are a little bit 5150, you're going to be depressed. You're going to be out of sorts. You're going to have no energy. You're going to have a system that needs to be revived, and your immune system is all electrical. And if you don't get that system in order, something is going to happen somewhere down the line. You know what I figure, Priscilla? I visualize, follow me with this one. I visualize our kids today that will all turn, let's say, 25 at the same time. Going to be flipping like fish out of water, all at the same time. Just drop and start flipping. And it's going to be because of these electromagnetic fields from the cell phones. You look at, they give it to the little babies, and they know how to do it before they can talk.
I tell you. I mean, I see. I'm with you on that. I mean, your vision is actually here now.
Okay.
We have kids. We have babies. We have babies. Parents are giving. I mean, just to keep them occupied for a few minutes. They give them their cell phone and they're eating it. They're just putting their mouth all over it. And, they don't realize that radiation that is coming out from that cell phone. I mean, it's just, and it's not just those devices. It's everything else that's around us.
Yeah,
but
you heard me go through a whole grocery list of these things.
Right, but we need to focus on what is really up close and personal to us. What are the devices that we use on a daily basis? Because I will tell you this, there was a study at UW, University of Washington, and the study, and this study, when I read this, I just, oh my goodness. Let me just tell you that Dr. Henry Lai and Dr. Singh, and they're from UW, they answered a simple question that was asked, and the way that they answered it was by doing a test study. And the question that was asked was, does non-ionizing EMF or EMR damage the DNA? Now, I'll tell you the study that was done. They used something that was up close and personal with everyone, which is our phone. I mean, it could be your iPhone, it could be something you use on a daily basis. Some people take it to bed. They sleep with it like I used to do. But, they used a safe level device daily, exposed it 2 hours, and they increased the exposure an hour every other day. And they were doing the test on rats. But just daily uses of 2 hours to 3 hours showed in a short period of time that the exposure to EMF increased the DNA strand breaks in the brain of these living rats.
My goodness. Now, I completely track with that.
I was stunned.
What you're saying to me is that this poison, this electrical poison that's coming into our bodies are accumulative.
Yes.
And it's killing and breaking down brain cells.
Yes. It's breaking down our DNA strands, and this is all documented. And for those that want to know and want to know, I've done so much research. I'm following so many different, scientists in regards to their studies. I have all the information. I have all the websites. I have all of the articles. I have all copies of the articles saved on my archive because these are studies that were featured. These were studies that were tested and evidence showing, and still we're here, and most people, because they can't see it.
Like I said earlier, most people have their heads in the sand when it comes to these sorts of things. And what they would say essentially is just, what do I do? How do I fix it? How do I cover it up? I have an email that just came in. Actually, it came over Facebook. And this came from Mona. And thank you for this question, Mona. Mona says, are there any energy saver lights safe? What are the best lights to use? I can tell you the worst ones, Mona, is those flickering things over your head that when you go to the office, they're called fluorescent light bulbs. You want to stay away from those, okay?
Yeah.
Those things are pretty doggone dangerous. But you have those different light bulbs that you can get, has very, very low frequencies. And as long as you plug them into a wall, which means they can get grounded, you are a lot safer with those. I like the lights where there's nothing flickering in them, but you plug them into the wall, you screw the light bulb in, and the light is that little coil. Some people don't like those still, but I think they probably emit the best that you're going to get from that. And when we're talking about, and I talk this every day, Priscilla, honestly. When I say every day, I'm
That's
serious.
awesome.
Every day I talk EMF because you've been to my studio. You know me. You know I ask the questions you know I want to know. And I want to protect my body and my family's body as best I can. So I have electromagnetic shields that I wear. I have shields in my office. I have shields in my home. I have a shield around my dog's neck, okay? I don't...
You got to. They're affected too.
Yeah, they are.
They're affected too. Our animals are so in tune with the nature, with Earth. They are so in tune. So all of this man-made frequency affects them just as well.
Well, and people are going to want to know what are these shields that I'm talking about. And I want, first of all, to say Priscilla is here in the Los Angeles area, and she's visiting from her state of Washington. And she's only going to be here a short period of time, and she's doing lectures in and about our city. And Priscilla, tell folks where you're going to be within the next week.
Well, I'm going to be tonight at the Gateway on Barrington, on South Barrington Avenue. I will be there from 7 to 9 doing a lecture on the harmful effects of EMF. And I will also be at the Mystic Journey bookstore in Venice, and that's on Abbott Kinney Boulevard in Venice, California. I'll be there on Saturday, this Saturday, August 22nd, from 7 to 8:30. And I'm just so excited to be able to come and share the information, because knowledge gives us the power to be able to do what we have to do, to take the necessary steps, to be able to help, I would say this, to protect ourselves, our loved ones, from this dangerous pollution. And India, I want to say this, is that there's so many people that are out there that know that they know that this deadly pollution, and scientists call it the silent killer. They know that it's out there, but they just don't know what to do. Exactly. They know that there's something affecting them, but they just don't know. They can't pinpoint what it is. The lecture that I will be doing will be able to share with. I will share with them, what EMF is, where it's found, and how can we ground our bodies in a natural way where you will have that protection, you will have that assurance, and you can continue to use your cell phones and your personal devices, and because there's all of us. I mean, we love the technology because we've got to stay in tune with our family and in touch with just in touch with everyone and just with the trends. That's most of it is the trend. But and convenience.
But the one
and
thing
a lot
that
of us don't want to give it up.
The one thing that I have found with having my shields all around me, Priscilla, is that I don't have to think about that anymore. I can use my cell phone.
Right.
I can keep it on my person because I have a shield on my cell phone that protects me from that magnetic energy that would penetrate and go into every cell in my body. People don't believe that I can keep this amount of energy all day long. And I can focus and function with it. And I'm not on drugs. I am high on the natural electrical current of Mother Nature and Father God. And if I can continue to do this, I can live to be a ripe old girl and keep a good, healthy existence. But I have to be able to focus, too, on my world. And my world is helping and educating, a lot like yourself, Priscilla, helping, educating folks on what they need to know. But if you come into me and I look sicker than you coming to me for help, something is wrong with that picture. So I don't ever want to present that to my people. I want them to say, I want what you're having. And if you want what I'm having, I'm telling you, I point to my shield around my neck, the shield on my cell phone that hangs around my neck, my shields in my room, and Priscilla, you gave me my latest one. What is that little gizmo called? Well, I plugged it in the socket.
That is the quantum EMF plug.
That, I swear to God, it is so essential to have. Until
it is.
When I have it in my main room where I call working my magic, where I work my magic, people walk into that room and instantly they're relaxed. Instantly they're shut off.
I love it too. I love the reaction. I do love the reaction of people. I mean, they don't know what's in the room, but they feel a sense of peace and relaxation. And that's the power, and that is the power of the quantum science products. I will say this, that in order for you to be able to overcome, and the only way that you can protect yourself from, electromagnetic radiation, EMF is a combination of natural and man-made. That's what it is. It's a combination. So the only way to be able to protect your body is to use something from the earth that is strong enough to keep the body grounded and to be able to either nullify or alter the man-made frequency that is in your existing areas that because everywhere you go, it's out there. So you've got to stay grounded, and this is how I was able to recover. I recovered by keeping my body grounded with the quantum science lava pendants. And I got to say this, the minerals, there's 76 minerals in this pendant. And one of the key components is the lava, and the lava is only taken in certain volcanoes in the world. This Japanese scientist who invented this, basically he used some of the formulas of what was left from Nikola Tesla. So I would say this is that when Nikola Tesla was able to harness the Earth's energy, this Japanese scientist was doing the same thing. He was trying to be able to harness the Earth's energy, and he was able to capture not only the Earth's energy, but he was able to capture the ingredients that keeps the body grounded into the Earth, and that's what you feel. You feel grounded when you're wearing these products. The quantum shield has the minerals infused in it, and this scientist uses nanotechnology and heat infusion to incorporate the minerals into anything that is not the lava stone itself. The EMF plug is one of the best products actually that came out into the market, and I've got many people that are using the EMF plug, and it's basically a plug you plug right into any outlet of your home. It doesn't have to necessarily be where your electrical box is, because it resonates 5,000 square feet around. That's how much of a distance of protection. So it works not only across the walls of the home, of the electrical grid, but it also works from the wireless. It actually takes care of the wireless from outside of the home coming into the home. This EMF plug was tested at University of Irvine by Dr. Joey Jones. He heads the radiological department. And that's how they have, their equipment and machines are able to test and see how they're able to capture the resonance of these minerals.
How long will they last?
I'll tell you.
Is it like a year's guarantee that it will last that long? Warranty for what? No,
these minerals, they never dissipate.
So you get this plug, and you plug it into a socket in your home or in your business for 5,000 feet around it, and it's there forever.
It's there forever. The minerals that's infused in the EMF, that EMF plug alters the area of where you're plugging it into to make it safe, to make it in a safe zone. And the quantum science minerals that we're promoting, the energy will never ever dissipate. It constantly regenerates from the ground. And it's amazing. It's just amazing what this product does. And I'll say this: I've been traveling for the last 8 years. I've been doing lots of health shows, any of the body, mind, and spirit shows where people are very health conscious or conscious about their surroundings. And I've been just promoting this and showing people, first of all, educating them about this deadly pollution, and then just giving them some solutions. It's their choice, because if you live in the mountains.
Let me ask you one thing, because if you're local, ladies and gentlemen, and you want to come out and hear Priscilla, absolutely amazing and stunning some of the information that you will see and hear from her. But Priscilla, can you give, I like the demonstration that you do with the cell phones and the popcorn. Can you tell how that works so that they can get a little visual? But when they see it in person, it is amazing.
Yes. Actually, we do have a cell sensor that we use when we're testing phones. Basically, it tests the RF of the phone, what hertz that it resonates, what's emitting, what's the zone that it's emitting. So that detects the radiation frequency. And when you put one of the shields onto one of those, when you put a shield onto your smartphone or your cell phone, it shows how much of that radiation is decreased. And that's a really powerful tool. But here's one thing that is just, there's so many tests that I could tell you that we're doing, and actually we're going to be doing some tonight and also on Saturday. But one of the tests is you take 4 cell phones and you have them in a cross shape on a flat surface, and you have 4 people from anywhere call into those cell phones at the same time. So you organize that, make sure all the phones ring at the same time. But you just throw some popcorn in the middle of the table, in between those cell phones. And you'll see as the phones start ringing, these popcorn they just pop, 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 pop. You can have a popcorn party, just with the cell phone.
I'm telling you, 5150, that's your brain. Yeah. That's your brain on cell phones.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yes, I'm gonna make a sticker with that 5150. But yes, that's right. That's your brain. That is your brain right there. That popcorn, people, listen. That popcorn tells you something. That's how high powered. And our brain, the percentage of the water in our brain. Come on now.
People are
so
not
I'll say this.
Yet. If you see something like this, some people have to see it more. Some people are more visual than others, and then there are people that can hear it, like me, and I get it. I get that our brain cells are diminishing. I get that this EMF, that's this constant bombardment and assault to the body with this EMF is destroying our genome, our genes, our DNA.
Yes.
It's
DNA.
destroying us. And if we don't get it, and if we don't get it together, like fish out of water, all at the same time, we're going to be flopping up and down, I'm telling you. Well, Priscilla, I so want to thank you, and I want to, for those that are local, again, I want to say, please, if you can, come out and see and hear and see what the shields are. See how simple they are, by the way. To me, they look like jewelry. To me, they just look like a little device. But I've got it. And when you mention Nikola Tesla, I have the modern day coils of the Tesla energy lights. So everything that I do in my studio is giving off good, positive stuff. And even if I were to buy, let's say, my supplements that I sell, like the probiotics, I put them between the lights and give them a little zap.
Yes, awesome.
It
very
enhances
good.
them. It enhances them. And then I sell it. So whatever I have is all enhanced by Tesla. It's a beautiful thing.
Awesome.
So come out and hear Priscilla. Come out and see the shields. Know what you're getting. Know what you're getting into if you don't do it. You will not regret a visit to one of these lectures. You're only going to be here for until Sunday or Monday, so I'm going to look forward to seeing you.
I do too.
You'll see me with Priscilla tonight, as a matter of fact, and that's going to be
awesome.
Where is it going to be?
At the Gateway.
Again? At the Gateway.
At the Gateway.
On what's the address? Do you have it?
Yes, at the Gateway, it is on 2507 South Barrington Avenue in West LA.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from 7 to 9.
Okay, from 7 to 9 tonight. And at the Mystic Bookstore?
Mystic Journey Bookstore on Saturday, on the 22nd. And that is 1624 Abbott Kinney Boulevard in Venice. And that's from 7 to 8:30.
All right. We're going to look forward to seeing you there, Priscilla.
Well, I look forward to seeing you too, India. Thank you so much.
And
much
tell
aloha
people
to you and your staff.
Where they can reach you if they need to reach you outside of that.
Well, actually, my website, they can access my website, and it is Nesian Fusion, and that's spelled N as in Nancy, E, Echo, S, Sierra, I, India, A, Anna, N, Nancy, Fusion, FUSION.com. And once again, that's NesianFusion.com.
Thank you, Priscilla. And thanks again for joining me again. You're always a joy and a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is India Holloway, your host here on the Inner Light Radio. And you can reach me at indiashealthyliving@yahoo.com or healthylivingstudios.com, my website. Please join me again next week at the same time, where we're going to give you more information. Until then, I want to say with love and great gratitude, ciao for now.
India's healthy living. She's your one-stop alternative shop for all your healthy needs. From nutrition to colonics to iridology, she's there for you and your family. India's healthy. India's healthy. India's healthy. India's healthy. India's healthy.